What is the best way to start a conversation with a stranger? I see you're drinking 1%. Is that cause you think you're fat? Cause you're not. You could be drinking whole. Double quote. I fly a lot. And I've found that picking up a newspaper and doing the crossword with whoever is next to you works wonders. Does not work well if you're sitting next to infants. Spill their drink. And blame them for it. This usually leads to a highly energetic conversation. In the UK. Just say anything about the weather. It's difficult just to walk up to someone and start a conversation. Most people aren't open to that. But I find usually the most seamless way to start talking to a stranger is through complaining about a shared current event. i.e. Professor's late. The exam you're walking out of was too hard. Long lines. Etc. Did you see the shirtless guy riding a horse outside? Can you use a counterweight to launch a 90-kilogram projectile over 300 meters? As Demerit Martin would say, a good way to start a conversation is what's your favorite color. A good way to end a conversation is what's your favorite color of person. Double quote. Start with something happening or visible around you. It feels natural to the situation. And seems like two strangers talking about something around them. Going with the generic conversation starter a propos of nothing makes you seem kinda weird. Pointing to something and making a comment about it might draw them in a little more. Easy mode. When traveling. Where you going? Double quote. Hard mode. See that tall quiet guy with the dark shades? You think he's a spy? Or a serial killer? Double quote. When anybody starts idle chit chat with me out of the blue, I prepare myself mentally to be either invited to their church, pitched Amway or some such shit. Or asked for money. It never fails. I like how 75% of these replies are sarcastic because it's Reddit and our lives are sad. Lonesome piles of isolationess. Leave an easy out. If you force a conversation on a stranger, they will get uncomfortable. If you bring up something light, or in a way that allows them to give a simple polite answer and then move on without it continuing, it lets them choose to continue the conversation on their terms. Lets them decide to chat. Instead of you forcing it on them. Casual and light. Don't stare them down. It's okay to show interest but don't be crazy overeager. It's my understanding that you just walk up and grab them by the pussy. Telling them that unless they put the lotion on their skin, they're gonna get the hose. Just realized I have never attempted to start a conversation with a stranger. I couldn't help but notice you had an erection. I'm glad we share something in common. I live abroad and talking to strangers is literally the only way to meet people here. So I've gotten pretty good at it. I should mention I'm a female. But I usually compliment someone. And am genuine about it. It has worked for me 9/10 times because most people can recognize if you are being genuine or not. Plus if I'm complimenting them it means we already have something in common or something to continue the conversation with. For example, if a girl has killer shoes I'd say something like those are killer shoes. Then a 5W question. Who? What? Where? When? Why? Works the same for guys. Great mustache. Who inspired you? Where did you learn to grow facial hair? When was the breaking moment of no mustache versus mustache? Why did you grow it? What's that orange thing in your mustache? Double quote. Toss them a frisbee. Of course. Only try this if you're both in a public park and not in a department store, airport, hospital, dentist's office, pathology lab, traffic jam, phrenology clinic, deposition, AA meeting, state legislature, church service, opium den, boot camp, organic chemistry class, funeral, grocery store, ad agency, inauguration, fox hunt, planning commission meeting, intervention, pilot check ride, board meeting, supervised study session, purge, job interview, immigration and naturalization interrogation, academy awards or ceremony, or surgical procedure. In which case other conversational openings might be more relevant, appropriate, and successful. I hope this information is helpful. I like starting off with a random show or thought. It often makes people laugh. Just yesterday I told a co-worker, would a surprise party be the ultimate offense to my detective cousin? She might think I'm a genius. Or retarded IDK. I received a call a few hours ago. From an unknown number. I thought it was a friend of mine since I never save numbers. Me. Welcome to Burger King. Your order please. IDK, how you say it in English. Caller. Hi. It's corporation. You applied for a job. We both had to laugh for like 5 minutes and then she invited me to a job interview. That's how you start a conversation. Guys. Did you know the original name for Pac-Man was Puck-Man? You'd think it was because he looks like a hockey puck, but it actually comes from the Japanese phrase paku paku, which means to flap one's mouth open and closed. They changed it because they thought Puck-Man would be too easy to vandalize. You know. Like people could just scratch off the P and turn it into an F or whatever. Just remember Ford. If you can't think of any easy openers to start a conversation with a stranger, just ask them about their family, occupation, recreation, dreams. I read this on here a couple years ago and it always stuck with me. Wish I could give credit but brain. Now I always have 5-10 minutes worth of conversation to get to know strangers, make it easier for them to open up. It's a lot easier for someone to open up about something they are familiar with. I once walked up to a girl and said Sarah. She was like, OMG. No, that's my sister. We look so alike. Double quote. Conversation started. It is a scientific fact that if you talk to a girl, her name is Sarah or her sister and or best friend is named Sarah. Or all three are named Sarah. Hi. Excuse me sir, ma'am. I really love your thingo. Do you mind if I ask where you purchased it? It's just that my sister, brother, mother, father has been looking for something similar and I'd love to get them one for their birthday, nearest relevant holiday. No matter what they say. Say thank you and then you can make casual conversation. Never had someone wasn't willing to talk to someone who wants to get a present for their mother, sister, father, brother. Instant likability and trust cred. Comment on something in your surroundings if you have no real reason to chat. Say hello and introduce yourself if you do have a reason. Was sitting in the library next to some cute girl. Me. Hey. Can I have a piece of paper? Girl. Sure. I'll give you 2. And that was it. I prefer the ever popular. You ever drink Baileys from a shoe? Followed by a calm want to go to a club where people wee on each other? Double quote. By complimenting anything they have on them. For example, if they are wearing spectacles. I always go with hey. Cool glasses. As a woman. It's easier for me to start with cool purse or cute outfit. A lot of the time. I just ask. Hey. This line is long, want to chat? When does your flight leave and where are you off to? Then switch immediately to form. Family. Occupation. Recreation. Motivation. What's new? Going on any trips? Any big things happen to you lately? Get people talking about themselves. It's easy for people to open up when they don't have to think. Here's the trick though. And it's not actually a trick. You have to show interest. Actually be genuinely interested in their lives and what's happening, or else not much will happen. Bonus line for a complete stranger. Hey. We have something in common. We do? Yeah. We both like NASA. Guaranteed to work. Coming from a small city, do I know you from somewhere? Or you don't happen to be in town last weekend, do you? Double quote. 6-10 would engage in the conversation. Talking to strangers isn't for everyone. I work for Starbucks and I've noticed with my co-workers working drive-through that I have employees who say only what they have to close the window. And I have employees who will talk to every single customer about anything all the way until their drink is ready. I find myself to be either person, depending on the day. I've become pretty good at this over the years. The trick isn't so much what you say, but rather projecting the atmosphere that you're just someone that likes to talk to people, rather than someone who's deliberately and pointedly talking to that person with a clear purpose. Quite a lot of the time people, even introverted people, feel flattered at being included in conversation so long as it doesn't feel like you're out to get them for whatever reason. You'll note that people who are good at making new friends are the kinds of people that are happy to drum up conversations with anyone, not just whoever is the most attractive and vulnerable person in the room. Hi. My name is ... A friend of mine does a lot of work with some high worth people. And so I asked him how he starts talking to them if they're really famous. And he obviously knows who they are. And they know that he knows them. He said. He just says, "Hi. My name is ... And then more often than not they introduce themselves and tell him their name. Perhaps you've noticed I have an erection right now. Don't worry. Nothing personal. Just rando boner time. ... I had a friend who used to sit by the water fountain. Whenever someone would come up and drink he'd be like, "So, you like water too?" ... He was part of a student outreach program. Not just looking for friends. But still. You know. As I was coming here I saw a man. Shirtless. Riding a horse down the middle of the street. Sweat to God. ... I do not mean to pry. But you don't by any chance happen to have 6 fingers on your right hand? Ask them a question. Something innocuous to break the ice. Like, are these restraints too tight? ... Pro tip. You have to peel the duct tape off their mouth in order to get a reply. There is a game my friends and I play. It's called conversation bombing. Basically, as you're walking along with a friend, you try to say something completely inappropriate random just loudly enough so that a person walking nearby can hear it. Perfect example. "So yeah. I've never had sex with a chicken. But I hear it's better than pussy." ... You get points if the person stops walking, laughs, or loses their train of thought. Occasionally you get someone who tries to talk to you after you say something like that. I usually compliment something they are wearing or holding. Then ask a question or two. Example. "Hey. I like your boots. Did you get them from Boot Barn?" This is enough to tell if they are chatty or just wanna be left alone. Proceed accordingly. Depends on why you want to talk to them. If it is to ask a question, then just say "Excuse me. Do you ... If you just want to chat, say something that may interest them. Based on superficial observation, clothing, bags, accessories. Are they holding an instrument? Etc. Close bracket. Is nobody curious why OP wants to start conversations with strangers? We're all just cool with potentially helping rip strangers out of reverie without an explanation. Compliment them on something. Clothes. Hair. Book. Whatever. I met my current group of friends when one of them told me she liked my hair while standing behind me in a line for a haunted house. Recently I brought it up with her and she told me her philosophy is if she looks at someone for more than 3 seconds she will compliment them on whatever caught her interest. When it comes to abortion I have no problem with killing babies. I just don't think women are mentally capable enough to make that kind of decision on their own. ... Give them a compliment. I've had people tell me their life stories just by saying "nice shoes." British person here. Tried to start a conversation with my Czech housemate and her Czech friend by asking them if they work together. My housemate accused me of xenophobia. I am never going to try to start a conversation again. Okay. First I'd slide up to the bar and tell you that I can't believe how f***ing fat you are. I'd tell that I like the way you make your titties shake, and if you lost a little weight, you'd look like Ricky Lake. Depends on the setting. If it's a party, especially where people are drunk, I always compliment someone on an article of clothing. People love that shit. It's so easy to make friends when you compliment something people try hard to pick out and make work. If it's just a common setting, then I'll just start talking. The trick is to be confident. If I go and talk to someone about a light subject, I do it confidently. Like I've known that person forever. Some people are just unreceptive to a conversation. And that's fine. When you find the people that are receptive, then boom, you have yourself a conversation. Depends on who you're looking to talk to. If it's another guy about my age, I might say, hey, man, what's up? An elderly person I may be more formal with. Someone who is dressed very nice I would definitely be formal with. Especially if they're older than me. Just be upfront, confident, and mind your manners. Also have an objective, I guess. If you're striking up conversation, you need to be objectively interested in something they have to say. This is primarily why I don't converse with a lot of people. I really don't care about them, their lives, or their problems, and thus conversing with them just leaves me looking like an asshole. Like, why did you ask me about my day if you didn't give a shit about what I said? Valid point. Is why I don't ask and why I don't converse unless I'm looking for something like directions or the time or whatever. Might be cliche, but walking a dog gives you many opportunities to meet and strike up conversations with strangers. Oftentimes the other people do the initiating. I try not to bother strangers. Minding your own business is the best thing to do. I personally don't want to be pestered by strangers myself. However, there are times you can jump in, such as on the subway. There's a group of people talking and you know what they're talking about. You can throw something in the conversation. Give them a compliment while smiling. I usually go for the "hey, I really like your shoes," They will usually say, "oh, thank you." And sometimes you get a compliment back, but if not, just continue the conversation by asking stuff about the surrounding, like, are you here for the convention? Or do you know of a good coffee place around here? Double quote. TLDR. Give compliment while smiling. Then ask questions. Compliment them on something. "Oh, I love your shoes." Or ask them something about where they're going, what they're doing, especially if they're reading something. Ask them about it. Disclaimer, I am a girl and an extrovert, so it is infinitely easier for me to start a random conversation with someone. Even if they ignore you, don't take it as a rejection. You have lost absolutely nothing by at least trying. It can be a zero-sum game, but not unrewarding for those times you actually end up having a cool conversation with someone new. Capital D. If you smile, make eye contact and talk about something occurring to both of you, i.e., a crowded bar or their favorite drink at a coffee shop, you should at least get a response. If not, they're probably not worth talking to. If you get a smile and a response, you're golden. This is really simple and best used when in close proximity: elevator, line, airplane, etc. Simply ask, "How's your day going?" Their response will quickly inform you as to whether they're interested in talking or not. And if they're up for a chat and polite, they'll likely offer up plenty more to talk about in their response and ask you the same question. For me, a girl, I have lots of success by giving a small compliment. Doesn't always work, but sometimes the small compliment really makes their day and they start taking a lot. I don't think I've ever started a conversation with someone. If I have an actual necessary question, I will ask. Otherwise, full stop. Full stop. I'm the person staring deeply into the eyes of my phone, book, or magazine. For me, the best conversation starter is a shared observation. Some of my best friendships have started from being in a place and witnessing something. Then one of the two people commenting on what they saw. Weather is a good one. Cold out, isn't it? I have some strange ones as well. My best friend and I became friends 5 years ago after an annoying co-worker left the break room and I muttered, "Thank God." Turns out we both hated the guy. Look for something distinctive about them and ask them about it. If they're wearing an Apple Watch, ask what they like about it. If they're wearing a scarf, compliment them on it and ask if it came from someplace special. If they have a cowlick, mention that you have the same problem and that you apologize to the person that cuts your hair every time. It's not hard to find something that is unusual about just about everyone you meet. Pointing it out makes them feel special and shows you are interested in them. And it takes the pressure off you completely to be clever or interesting yourself. Well, once I was looking at a sign. Some guy came up to me and asked if I knew what prime numbers were. I said yes and he stared at me for a couple of seconds, thinking he wanted me to give him a couple of prime numbers. I was about to give him some examples. As soon as my mouth began to give volume, he simply just turned around and walked away, leaving me standing confused for a couple of minutes. So yeah, anything but that will probably work just fine. It works best if you have a friend with you. Bring the person into the conversation by asking them a strange question. You need input from them or the question will never get resolved. It will throw them off their guard and bring them into your conversation. I've used it many times. And it doesn't feel like small talk. It feels genuine.